What is up, everyone? I'm here with my good friend and client, Colin. He's been killing it on Amazon recently, and I'm super excited to interview him and have him share his journey. He's a part of the VA Fastlane. We help place a skilled product sourcing VA into his business, and things have been going extremely well. So before we hop into this interview, Colin, can you maybe quickly introduce yourself and talk a little bit more about why you got started selling on Amazon?
Yeah, so first of all, just introduce myself. My name's Colin. I'm a full-time nurse outside of Amazon, working 36 hours a week. I also work night shift, so it kind of throws off my schedule a little bit, but I'm eventually wanting to make Amazon a full-time thing. I want to make the full transition to where I'm not doing the nursing anymore and I'm able to, make enough income to support my family and do everything I've been doing. But Amazon is so much more rewarding because it's like my thing. I don't have another person telling me what to do, management and all that stuff. Every decision is mine, and you know how it is. You're an Amazon seller as well. It's a continual grind, but at the same time, it's really fun, and I've honestly become addicted to it at this point.
I love it, man. And can you give us maybe when you started selling on Amazon, and then maybe you can share what you've sold the last 30 days, maybe how much you spent on inventory to see that, it is possible to get to these points quickly?
Yeah, so I'm going on my 6 month selling right now. I guess, 5 full months so far. When I first started, I was doing, maybe 5,000, 7,000 for the first couple of months. After I started spending some money on mentoring is when I really took off, which I highly recommend. Anybody that wants to get started, do a little bit yourself at first and then reach out to other people that have done this before and know what they're doing. And you can go so much faster. That third month of sales, I went from 7,000 a month to, I think I did 25 that third month. And then I've slowly built it up, above about 30,000 right now. We're at 37,000 last 30 days. So slow grind, but you can grow pretty quickly when you've got the right network and you've got the right people around you to kind of bounce ideas off of.
100%. And can you kind of walk us through the structure of your Amazon business? What business model are you using? Do you use a prep center? Are you doing prep yourself? Can you kind of walk us through that right now?
Yeah. So I started doing pretty much all FBA. My first 2 months, I don't think I shipped anything myself. That was sort of the model that was advertised online. And it's kind of what I thought I should learn to begin with, I guess. So everything was going FBA. I was basically shipping everything to my house and then just prepping it myself, shipping it out to Amazon and just kind of doing that over and over and over. I've gotten to the point where I'm probably about 60-40 FBM actually. So I fulfill a lot of orders myself. And then the, flip side of that is the FBA that I'm still doing. Some of it comes out of my house. Another portion of it, I've actually got a prep center now that I've been working with for probably 2 months at this point, I guess. They're based out of Oregon, so tax-free if you're ordering anything to them. That's a big help, though. A lot of the stuff that I ship is probably under, I would say $30-40. So it's at some point it's beneficial to ship things to them. If it's over $40, you're going to save quite a bit on those taxes. But it sort of evens out for me to where I'm spending about the same to just ship it to myself at my house, and then I'll just fulfill the order. And it's once you get into the Amazon game, you'll realize that doing FBM, you can flip your cash so much faster. You're not waiting a month for that money to come back from Amazon, basically.
Yeah, that was going to be my follow-up question to you is, everyone always hears, Amazon FBA, fulfillment by Amazon. But, as we're recording this, during Q4 right now, can you talk a little bit more about the benefits of merchant fulfilling and why a large portion of your sales you now do through merchant fulfilling?
Yeah. So, based on the same thing I was just talking about, you can move your cash so much faster. I'm able to put an order in, inventory gets to my house in a day or two. I can have that stuff posted up the same day. And then if it's a pretty good moving item, I can sell, if I order, let's say just 20 units, for example, I can sell through 4 or 5 of those in the first day that I've got the product. And you're basically just looping that over and over and over. And then once you do sell it FBM instead of FBA, you're able to get that cash back from Amazon because you're not waiting a month for it to check into Amazon. Payments are probably a month faster or more, honestly, just to get that cash flow back into more inventory. At this point, I'm so early in the game. I don't really take payments out of my Amazon. I don't pay myself. So essentially what I'm doing is just taking inventory and flipping and flipping and flipping into more inventory, more profit. That's a side benefit of having, a full-time job on top of this, is I'm not really needing that money to pay for my, my daily expenses.
And that's great because it's going to allow you to compound faster. You're reinvesting all your profits, you're able to buy more inventory, sell more, and, the growth is exponential at that point. Let's talk about leads, Colin. This is a big issue for a lot of online arbitrage sellers that are looking to scale. Like you mentioned, you were doing about 5 to 70K a month. You invested in some mentoring, some help, and all of a sudden you were doing 20, 25, you're doing $37,000 in the last 30 days. Do you have any tips on how people find, better products, better leads to really scale the business? Because a lot of people struggle with this.
Yeah, so it's not like an unheard of struggle starting as an Amazon seller. Like myself, I'll tell you, I was horrible at sourcing when I first started. Like the first month or two was really rough. And honestly, those are like the hardest times that you have to really push through and just know that you're going to somehow figure it out at some point. But I started with things like tactical arbitrage. So I was basically going to, Walmart, Target, that kind of thing, and I would just like scan their entire grocery section and see if something popped up that was profitable. So I did that for a little bit. I mean, I did okay as a new seller, doing like 6,000, 7,000 a month doing that. But it really changes when you kind of go to like the manual sourcing sort of way of doing it. Essentially going into those same websites and not using software to scan them, but you're basically going through their categories, manually by yourself, and then trying to find that UPC or that product on Amazon. And if it's, there for a profit, then you're doing the same thing. You're just buying it, flipping it. My recommendation for like new sellers is you really need a network of other sellers. I've got 2-3 texting groups that we're passing leads back and forth pretty much on a daily basis at this point. Another thing is get a VA and do mainly sourcing. That's, we've set up a VA, or you set up a VA for me, and he's only doing sourcing right now. I don't have him doing any admin work. He's literally just sending me stuff to buy on a daily basis. It's just like you can only do so much by yourself. It's just another eye that's going to be digging through those websites and sending you stuff that you can potentially take a look at. And then, if the numbers work out, always take a look at the keep a chart and verify that things look right. But if it all works out, you've got another person that's just sending you leads without doing any real extra work, essentially.
100%. So Colin, obviously, a big topic of my channel, social medias, is virtual assistants and how they can help you scale your Amazon business. Just like you mentioned, you joined the VA Fastlane. We helped place a skilled product sourcing VA into your business. How has that been working with a virtual assistant, someone that is helping you find more leads and scale your Amazon business?
Yeah, so it's been a good process to kind of learn and figure out. It's definitely beneficial to have another person, looking for leads, or another set of eyes that's going to dig through the sources that you all are kind of used to, or if there's new stuff that they can pull leads from. I will say, I thought it was going to be kind of like a plug and play, and I was going to get a VA, and then it was just going to skyrocket me up to like 80,000, 100,000 a month or whatever. It's something that people should definitely be aware of. Like that's not super realistic. It definitely takes a little bit of work. Like it's more of a relationship kind of thing. You really have to work, a daily or weekly basis with your VA to like really scale up. So for me, it's been a learning process, just because it's so different, and I'm used to controlling, everything across the board for my business. But it's also been super beneficial because I have an assistant that can pull leads that I would have never found myself. And we've definitely done profitable inventory that he's found that I never would have pulled, for myself. So highly recommended. Definitely you want to get a sourcing VA or an admin VA into your business. Once you kind of get the general flow of things, like you should sort of figure it out yourself before you're going to pull, an assistant into it, especially because you don't really know how to train them. You don't know, there's no improvement to be made if you don't know how to do the thing yourself, essentially. So I think that's a big help. Is I had 2 to 3 months of doing this, kind of figuring it out before I had a VA. And now, when he sends me leads, I'm able to tell him what's good about the lead. I'm able to tell him what's bad about the lead. How does the keep a chart look? What do the numbers look like on a monthly basis? Is it going to be something that we're going to buy? If I'm going to buy it, how much of it am I going to buy or not going to buy? So it's definitely been a learning process, but overall it's been beneficial for sure.
Yeah, Colin, I mean, I think you're spot on. Some people see a virtual assistant as like, the next get rich quick scheme on Amazon, and it's just not the case. And it shouldn't be that way. When you add it in, like, they're probably not going to double your business right away, but the goal is to provide them with the skills, however you like to source, how you like to run your Amazon business, pass those skills over to them. This is a teammate that I think is a very long-term play, and it takes time to build them up and, have them operate and source how you like to operate and source. And that just takes time to build. But just like you said, now after, 2 to 3 months of working with them, getting on one-on-one calls, discussing, reviewing leads, you're slowly crafting them into kind of what you wanted from day one. But obviously it takes time there. And
I will say, just like a side note to that, I will say, when you start working with a VA, they're sending you leads, you're buying those leads. And then a lot of the stuff that I'm buying from my virtual assistant, or, my virtual assistant's sending me the leads and that I'm buying, I would say 95% of it's probably going to be FBA stuff. So I never touch the product. So basically I'm buying the product, it's going to my prep center, and then it's going to Amazon. That lead time is, especially since we're in Q4 right now, that lead time is going to be like a month and a half, at least for me personally. So you really need to be with a VA. I would say like 2 to 3 months, honestly, to get comfortable, because you're not really going to see sort of the outcome of those buys for like 2 to 3 months. It may look like it's not sort of a beneficial thing, but after time and after you're able to sell that product later through FBA, it kind of like levels out. And then eventually, hopefully you're going to get to the point where you can replenish some of those products. And then, it's just going to skyrocket your sales.
Spot on. And Colin, I know there's a lot of people probably watching this interview and, maybe they're already selling on Amazon and they're thinking about taking the next step and, bringing on a virtual assistant to their Amazon business. When do you think is a good point, now that you've done it before and you have a virtual assistant now and it's been going well, when do you think for an Amazon seller is the right time to bring on a virtual assistant to help them scale?
So I think it kind of varies. For me personally, I would do at least a couple months by yourself so you can get sort of comfortable with the business. What the day-to-day flow is, how to read Keepa charts, how to use, SellerAmp or whatever sort of software that you're using to analyze stuff. You need that information, like I said, to do some of the training with a VA. That's super important. Like sales goal wise, I would say, like, honestly, if you're doing like in the 20 to 30,000 range, it's probably a good time to bring on a VA. I can tell myself, I do a lot of FBM and it keeps me pretty busy. So like, I don't, outside of like, fulfilling orders, doing a little bit of sourcing myself, I definitely don't do as much as I used to because I have the VA now. It's just like, there's a time constraint. So as soon as you can get a VA into the business to at least help you with some admin stuff or do majority of your sourcing, it's going to allow you to do, other tasks within the business that you can really focus on. And which is like, for me, it's basically order fulfillment at this point, or, networking or reaching out to other sellers, doing like mentoring, that kind of thing, where I'm going to learn, like the next level of the business so I can keep taking it higher and higher.
100%. I know mentoring, you said, has been huge for your Amazon business. And I know there's some people watching this video that know about the VA Fastlane. They know that they can join. We can help provide them a skilled virtual assistant, but maybe they're a little bit on the fence. What would you tell that person after you joined the VA Fastlane and, got provided a virtual assistant by us?
Again, to build on like the networking thing, if you're not like, we do the weekly calls where we just kind of chat about, Amazon business, anything in general, if everybody has any questions, and then, discussing, working with VAs and that kind of thing. If you're not within a network like that, where you're doing like weekly calls or even like daily texting or Zooms with somebody that does Amazon other than you're really just like shooting yourself in the foot, because you can grow so much faster. You learn so much faster. You're not, you don't have to go to YouTube and watch 1,000 videos how to do this and that. You can basically just chat about it and get, 30 questions answered all within 10 minutes that you would have been hunting for yourself for, months or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. The weekly coaching calls in there are awesome. We had a great one last night with
it was very good.
That's doing 300K, and like, you just get to ask him the direct questions. No fluff. Hey man, I'm having this issue. Here's what I need help with. And, he's able to provide that insight to you and the other members on this call. So if you are watching this video and you want to learn more about the VA Fastlane, how I can help you place a skilled product sourcing virtual assistant to your business, I'll have a link below where you can book a call with me. I'll also have my Instagram. So if you want to message me, have any questions, go shoot me a message there. A couple questions I got for you, Colin.
Yeah.
Right now, I know that you've mentioned that you work a full-time job, and it keeps you pretty busy. And there's a lot of people that are maybe selling on Amazon or want to start selling on Amazon, but they have a part-time job, they have a full-time job. How are you able to juggle, a very large-scale Amazon business and a full-time job?
So it's just, honestly, it comes down to like consistency and how bad do you actually want to make the thing work. I've pretty much committed myself to like, a year from now, I'm not going to be going to my full-time job. I'm going to be doing Amazon full time. That's like my ultimate goal is by, end of 2024, I don't want to be going to my full-time job. I want to be doing Amazon, fulfilling orders, learning more about the business so I can just keep growing it and growing it and growing it. So it's mainly just consistency, putting in the work. Like I'll tell you basically my daily routine is, so I work night shift. So I'll get home at, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. As soon as I'm getting home, I'm basically printing off my FBM orders. I'll have, let's just say 30 or so when I get home, printing off those orders. I'm going to fulfill all those, right there, leave it ready. I do have a little bit of help with my wife typically takes all the packages to like the post office while I'm sleeping for the day essentially. But, immediately after work, I'm not like slacking, putting it off. Like I do it. It's just my daily routine. I just do it every day when I get home. I get those orders out. I check my account, see how the FBA stuff's doing, inventory levels. I'll jump into my repricer for like, 10, 20 minutes just to make sure everything is where it should be. And then, that same process, just do the same thing the next day. On top of that is, like I said, you got to reach out to other sellers. Like you got to be talking with other people. And I've developed like some pretty good friendships so far in the space that are also, selling on Amazon. Just talk to those people every day, every single day. And it's going to keep you more motivated to just keep doing it. Like if it's honestly kind of boring if you're just doing it yourself. It's a lot more fun when you've got other people around you that are doing the same thing and they have the same struggles that you're facing in a daily basis.
I think you're spot on. And that's the second or third time that you've mentioned networking, connecting with other sellers. And that's something that I try to push on social media a lot is, don't be a lone wolf, don't keep everything to yourself. Like be willing to reach out to others. And there's other people out there that are currently lone wolves that are looking for other people. Cause if you just think about, the people within your region or your city, like there's probably not too many Amazon sellers, but when you go on social media, like there's a ton of them. Connect with them, find ways to provide value, and you can usually do that for free.
Exactly. Like I will say like the earlier the better, honestly. I think that you can do the mentoring. It's, up front, it sounds expensive if, you want to get into like VA Fastlane or any other sort of Amazon mentorship. It seems expensive, but honestly, when you actually start using it, and you're going to quickly make that back in profit just because of how exponential it's going to move up your business. Like, on my second month of sales, I did 7,000. And then that third month of sales, when I got into a mentorship, I did almost 30,000. So I've like quadrupled my sales, easily paid for the mentorship and a little bit of profit on top of that. So it's very worthwhile to, spend money on the business as long as you want to do it full time and take it seriously.
Yeah, it's really, it really comes down to speed. Like you could probably figure it out on your own, but it would take you much more time. And a lot of people like, I want to figure this out now. They're willing to pay for it today and reap the benefits today and scale much quicker. Colin, man, I'm sure people have watched this interview this far, are inspired by you, and they maybe too want to start selling on Amazon. If you don't mind sharing, maybe how much money did you start your Amazon business with?
Honestly, very little. It really doesn't take a whole lot to start on Amazon. It's like barrier to entry is very low. I would say like cash wise, I probably started with like maybe $2,000. Essentially, I spent $500 on like a printer, a label printer, all the supplies and stuff that you need, maybe $500, and then the rest of that I put into inventory. And then since then, I've essentially just been looping that same inventory to where I'm at now. And then I do not recommend it up front. Probably not something a beginner should do. But once you get comfortable, you know how to read the charts and you know that your buys are good, go find a credit card that's going to give you a decent amount of credit to work with. And then from there, you can really, really ramp up your business. And I'll shout out the MX Plum, which is like, that's key. Once you get comfortable with your business, start using the MX Plum. It'll give you a decent amount of credit to work with, and you can really start ramping up your numbers for sure.
Yes, sir. I was about to ask you, what card do you recommend? You said the Plum. I said, yes, sir. That's the same one I'm rocking right now for almost all of my Amazon inventory spend at the moment.
Yeah, that's
Colin,
like
man.
99% of spend is going to be on that for now for sure.
Exactly. That extended time helps. And if you can pay it off like 10 days before your statement, you also get like 1.5% cash back. And
yeah,
as someone who's
exactly.
spending 10, 20, 30K a month, like you can see where that really starts to, compound and add up over time. Colin, man, one of my final questions for you. Let's say there's someone watching this video and, they're selling on Amazon and they want to get to the point where they can do 20, 30, 40K a month. What is one of your final piece of advice for someone that's looking to scale?
I would say, honestly, it goes back to the same sort of thing as far as like consistency in the work. It's like you won't figure it out all up front. Like I'll tell you, I was horrible at this like the first 2 months I did it, but you just have to enjoy the process. If you don't enjoy the process, you're not going to do the work, but it's actually like, it's fun to me at this point. I like doing it. So you just got to keep putting in the reps. Like you do this every day. You're going to get better at sourcing. You're going to find better products. You're going to meet more people that are sellers. It all just compounds. And then, the more you spend on inventory, the more you sell, you're going to have more money to spend on more inventory. So it just like every month that you're putting work into this, it just compounds and gets that much easier to scale up.
100%. Like I just say it's a skill. Like the first time you do product research, you're probably going to be awful. But once you do it for weeks, months, years, you start to get pretty good at it. And once you connect with other Amazon sellers, you network, can really speed that process up. So Colin, man, what is your social media? I know there's some people that want to follow you, follow your journey. Maybe they have some questions for you. Do you have any socials they can follow you at?
So I typically use Instagram. Instagram is going to be my first name. It's Colin, Colin, and then _ FBA.
Cool. Y'all check out the description of this video. I'm going to put Colin's Instagram down there. Y'all go follow him, show him some love. You got any questions, shoot it his way. I'm sure he's more than happy to help. If you guys watch this entire interview, thank you so much. If you have any questions for me or Colin, feel free to comment them below this video. I'm sure we'd be more than happy to help. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Colin, man, thank you so much for joining, and we'll hopefully see you all in the next video.
Sounds good. Thanks, man.
Peace, everybody.